Hello everybody, this is Kevin back with Inspiring How You See That. So we're back with Trace and we're going to be talking about some follow-ups with the uploading within Trace and the soccer games that you may have recorded if you're in or out of town. It may be one game or it may be several games. Of course, again, Trace only records usually up to about 3 to 4 games. So you'll want to make sure that once you get a game recorded, hurry up, plug it in, and make sure that you do plug it into your home internet system and your power system there, because as we've said, don't do this at hotels because many times they're blocked from the internet, the Wi-Fi, or they just won't process properly. So try to avoid from that. Long story short, if you need us to elaborate on that a little bit more, we'll make an additional video to that. But we wanted to talk about the uploading and the issues that you guys are having, and there's very easy fixes to these. So when you do go to your home and you get back and you plug in your Trace, just make sure that you have your Ethernet connection plugged into your Trace, but you'll first want to make sure to power the Trace on, plug it in as required, plug in, then plug in your Ethernet. So sometimes that can be an issue. Now, another issue with Trace is the updates. So if you don't plug in your Trace regularly and allow Trace to do updates, just like apps on your phone. I mean, if you don't upload an app on your phone, it locks up and it just totally don't work. Same thing with Trace. So that can be a problem. So if you have an admin or even your club just neglects to plug these in and plug them right into the internet connection, they have to be plugged into the internet connection. They just can't be plugged into power and hope that they're going to get updated. They have to be plugged into the Ethernet to then connect to Trace, and Trace team, which is out of California, goes in. Their updates are automatically installed. Sometimes these updates can take an hour and or all night. I mean, we've had Trace systems where they've taken several hours. So just make sure if you see the lights and they're blinking and they're constantly blinking, it is processing or uploading, or even Trace will talk to you and let you know that. So in regards to the other uploading issue, and you'll want to make sure, so I'll get in here and I'll show you some pictures here. So you'll always want to make sure, especially on your phone, and the best way to do this is just go through the Trace app, check on your phone, and as soon as you plug in the Trace, it should show you, either it's going to be waiting for a video, and if it's waiting for a video, then, and it's plugged in and it's been already there for a half hour, so there's something wrong, or it's doing updates. Give it some time, and if you don't see this process start processing through within, I would say, maybe an hour or some kind of activity, then you may have an issue, and you may, what you want to do, fully unplug your Trace again, unplug the Ethernet, and then unplug the power. It's just like any computer system. Let it power down, let it kind of refresh, give it about 15-20 seconds, then plug it back in, plug in the power first and then the Ethernet, and then redo it. And then what you'll get is you should get this processing. Now the processing just doesn't happen with the snap of the finger. You gotta be patient. It will come through. It'll say waiting for video, and then it should come up and it'll say process, and it'll also tell you on a Trace processing videos. They're going to be, you have one video, you have 2 videos, 3 videos. So they'll go through one by one. You either your first video that you have done, and it'll say processing. So this will take, several minutes, hours, some dependent upon if you've done multicam, which we can get into other videos. But if this is just a single video, it should process fairly quickly. And when I say quickly, it's usually hours. I think the longest we've ever had an issue with one is it's taken maybe 8 hours or something like that. But it'll stay processing and it'll slowly go up. So you can check on your phone regularly and it should start to go up and it'll increase as it goes. Now it's not going to happen quickly, but do check it. Now if you come back and you check it and it's still frozen, let's say if you check it 4 hours later and it's still frozen, in that same spot, give it at least, I would say, another maybe a couple hours more. And if it's still frozen in that same spot, then do the same thing, unplug it, you know, the sequence that we went through. Unplug it and then plug it back in, then plug in your Ethernet, and then it should reprocess. But of course, the more you do that, Trace team goes through and does this all manually with trying to get all your players set and make sure, and they double check everything that the computer went through. So it may take a little bit longer to process because of that, because you're unplugging it and then plugging it back in, and then they have to go back in and catch your camera system, because yours isn't the only one they're doing. I mean, there's several thousands of these out there. So make sure you do take your time and, you know, utilize that feature. Now you can go into the picture segments again here, and you can also go in and see, if you click on details for your processing, and you can see what's scheduled and when the game was scheduled, and the sound syncs and everything that's, you know, syncing with the trace. It'll tell you, and that's what's one of the nice new features that they have added. They've added a lot of different things, and they keep adding more items so you can kind of check. So then you'll see this was started processing. This was actually plugged in at probably about 1:30. So you see it didn't start processing until 3:30. So that was 2 hours later. So give it some time and let it process. And then it'll say it's, you know, drawing the radar, picking up the players. So it has to go through and calculate all that. And then it calculates all the player performances, touches, and this is still going through. It'll go through one by one by one. This is just some of the processing info that I caught, that I did a screenshot, wanted to show you from the phone. It'll go through every step. And this one video that processed right here did take about, I believe it was about 6 hours total. And that was with it one multicam. And we'll get into the multicams and how long. I mean, if you have additional multicams, it will take some time, because they have to coordinate all that into the trace and match everything. So that in regards is to the processing. If you guys have additional questions, please email us. We'll make a video that relates to that system and whatever you're trying to record, do. Explaining it through email messages, just a lot of times we have found just don't work. I mean, this is something a lot of times you have to do on hands, and it's better to do on hand. So we'll see you on the next video.